we're very proud of what Jocelyn and Tim are doing. They run Pickle Creek Herbs, and I am the proud owner of a beautiful bottle of vinegar. And looking at economic development in perhaps a somewhat non-traditional way, looking at economic development particularly through the lens of local self-sufficiency and being able to feed ourselves. 100 years ago, 90% of the food we ate was in-state, now 5 or 10%. And so tell us a little bit about what you're doing, Jocelyn.
So I am Jocelyn of Tim and Jocelyn. We run Pickle Creek Herbs. Tim and I used to be chemists, and then we inherited a farm, and so we ended up doing what we do today through this kind of roundabout journey. In 2004, we started growing produce, and so we said, we'll do this for 5 years, and we'll see if we last. And that was, that was '04, so that was almost 20 years ago now. And so we started out growing produce, and back then in '04, it was a great growing year. '05 was drought. Gas prices were at $4 a gallon, which back then, before inflation, was a lot. And we were doing farmers markets, and we were doing a CSA, and we said we've got to do something where we fit more into the niche of where we are, because we were growing produce, but we didn't have like the reach to get it out to people who really wanted what we were doing. We were certified organic, and there were a lot of other great growers. So we said we're gonna do something to really make this a niche thing. And so we went the value-added route. So we started growing herbs and garlic and tomatoes and peppers, and now we do herb-infused olive oils and vinegars and soap salves and balms. And we were just in the Source, the Iowa Source. There's an article about our farm. And so Meredith wrote it, and she really got me to talk and say things I maybe wouldn't have said. So anyway, it's a good read. Oh yeah, you know what? Tim can pull it up. Yeah, so I guess if I would say, if you want to have a farm, start small and grow organically, and be open to learning and see where it takes you, and be stubborn, like all good Iowa farm folk are. And that would be my advice for keeping at it. Today we do value added. We generally sell at 3 or 4 large farmers markets. Des Moines, Cedar Rapids, Iowa City, Davenport are our big ones. We do big festivals around Iowa. We're in, I think, almost close to 100 stores now in Iowa, around the United States. We do online orders. Every day I'm packing some order. And so it's just the other thing that has really helped is to have multiple avenues, channels. That was especially useful in 2020 when, the event world shut down. So these are just some photos.
What's the estimate on the number of heads of garlic
In that photo, Tim? So
20,000?
this was, what, 12,000? Yes. 12,000 heads of garlic we harvested this year. And Tim, so over the years, he's really, kind of adapted, learned a lot about farming. Definitely it's good to have a community, get with a community of growers. You'll learn a lot of useful things. Be creative. There's a lot of room for creativity if you want to do farming, especially sustainable stuff. There's Harley and Quinn. They're a wildlife management program. Yeah, we grow basil. We've got high tunnels because some years it rains and rains and rains. We've got wells because some years it doesn't rain at all. That's just the farm. And this is the farm where I grew up, is north of town here. It's just more herbs, more. We grow berries. We do a lot of berry infused vinegar. So we process several hundred pounds of berries every year, several hundred pounds of peppers every year go into our oil and stuff. Tim, I don't know how many thousands of basil plants he has right now, but I do know he has a 400-foot oregano row that once you start weeding, 300, is that what it was? No, it was like 800 feet, really, because
Boxes are so well received, I must say, for family members who you have outside of Iowa. They are so appreciative, and then they continue to ask for them.
Yep, little piece of Iowa in every bottle. We like value added because it's, it's shelf stable. And then there's a major thing with when you're growing produce, and it's that people see it as a commodity. But it's not. It's not a commodity. Not, one tomato is not the same as every tomato, but the education to get that through. But as soon as you do value added, it becomes valuable in people's mind. So any kind of sauce, like just that packaging, everything, getting it into a bottle makes a world of difference. So that was one reason we went to value added. Another great tip we picked up along the way is nothing is really waste, especially true in a garden where you can compost, but also if you've got leftover peppers, tomatoes, they ought to be going into sauces, into jars, into something else that you can keep on your shelf. You shouldn't have to throw away good garden produce. So it's always good to have some backup thing for what you're growing. So yeah, our approach has just been to be flexible and creative and stubborn. And there's Tim. We've got high tunnels, that's our greenhouse. We saw a lot of seedlings in the spring. That worked for us because we did value added, we weren't competing to be the first up market with the lettuce or the first with the tomatoes. So if we were a little late planting our own garden, it was okay. So it really worked out for us to deal with growing all these seedlings for people, which kind of cuts into your May planting time a bit. I think, is this the end of it, Tim? Okay. Yep, that's our farm. Yeah.